those communications have covered a wide variety of topics, including personal matters, business matters, geopolitics. And as you mentioned, several of my colleagues were able to confirm with multiple sources that during the conversations, Vladimir Putin asked Musk to not turn on Starlink over Taiwan.
Elon Musk, the world's richest man and close ally of Donald Trump, has been in regular contact with President Vladimir Putin since late 2022. The calls reportedly included Putin asking the billionaire to avoid activating his Starlink satellite service over Taiwan as a favour to China. And this is all according to an extraordinary report in the Wall Street Journal, and it's an investigation. And the person who did that is Warren Strobel, who joins me now. Thanks for joining us on Times Radio, Warren.
Thanks for having me. I was actually one of a team of 5 reporters who worked on this piece.
It's one of those mammoth pieces, isn't it, which takes a huge amount of work and investigation, I would imagine.
Yeah, we were working on it 4 months.
Fantastic. Right. Well, could you just tell us briefly a little bit more about what you found?
Yeah, we found that Elon Musk has been communicating with Vladimir Putin and other senior Russian officials from 2022 up until at least this spring and summer. Those communications have covered a wide variety of topics, including personal matters, business matters, geopolitics. And as you mentioned, several of my colleagues were able to confirm with multiple sources that during the conversations, Vladimir Putin asked Musk to not turn on Starlink over Taiwan. As you and your listeners know, Vladimir Putin owes Xi Jinping of China quite a number of favors for his support in the Ukraine war. And the implication here is that he was asking for a favor, not for himself, but for his buddy Xi Jinping.
Is there a temptation, I think, to see whether you see China, Russia, Iran as sort of as separate entities in this axis of evil, and I'd of course include North Korea in that, but actually what your story underpins is the fact that actually these nations are working together, they're working in concert together.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I wouldn't call it an alliance like the NATO alliance, but certainly nor would I necessarily call it the axis of evil. At the Wall Street Journal, we jokingly call it the Bad Boys Alliance, but as you point out, there are increasing signs of really significant cooperation, economic, diplomatic, military among them, including the news this week, first mentioned by the Ukrainians and South Korea, now confirmed by the United States, and I assume the UK government, that North Korea has troops in Russia training for what could be a deployment to Ukraine.
And how does the presidential election fit into all of this? Because, of course, Donald Trump is working very closely with Elon Musk. Donald Trump has known previously to have sympathetic views towards Vladimir Putin. I mean, it feels like a very febrile time.
It is. And, to be honest, we got a lot of criticism, as we knew we would, for publishing this article 11, 12 days before the U.S. presidential election. The fact is, we published it as soon as we could, and it was, as you mentioned, a very difficult sort of investigation. But you do have a situation where Elon Musk is one of Donald Trump's top supporters now. He's appeared in public with him. He is giving money to him. He even offered voters money to vote for Trump, which the U.S. Justice Department promptly sent him a letter and said this could be illegal. I don't know about the rules in the UK, but in the US, you can't pay people to vote for people. So yeah, it is a febrile time. And in talking to Musk, Putin and his lieutenants are talking to somebody who's very close and has similar views on Ukraine and other issues to Donald Trump.
And just taking the story back to the beginning and bringing China into the equation, Taiwan is important to China because
China believes Taiwan is part of China, not an independent democratic country. Xi Jinping has basically said that he will, one way or the other, reunite Taiwan with China. The United States and the UK and NATO in general support Taiwan's independence and a peaceful resolution of the dispute. And as you know, in recent months, China has done increasing threatening military exercises around the island of Taiwan. And I don't think anybody thinks they're about ready to invade, but the situation there could get very, very much more dangerous in the years to come.
But Taiwan is, correct me if I'm wrong, and I'll defer to your to your knowledge on this, Warren, is that Taiwan is valuable because it's a place, it's a center for the manufacturing and development of AI chips, which of course feed into the technologies of the future. It has an economic strategic importance, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah, and I'm sorry, you're very right. I should have mentioned that. I mean, Taiwan is the home to TSMC, the world's number one chip manufacturer. I'm not an expert on chips, but I think that if China were able to get those facilities, they would rapidly vault to the lead in chip making. And partly for that reason, the United States and other countries have started to make moves to try and diversify the manufacture of computer chips around the world.
Because these chips, they also are very important to companies like Apple, technology companies, especially in California, which rely on them to use those chips in their technology.
Yeah, virtually any major electronics corporation, AI corporation that you can think of in Europe or in the United States relies on these chips as a basic building block of what they do. Yeah,
And in terms of the Starlink satellite and Xi Jinping not wanting the Starlink satellite to be operational over Taiwan, is the inference from your story and from your investigation that what China is asking for is to cut off communications or to limit communications over the island of Taiwan as a way of limiting its communications and ability to involve to communicate, I guess, with the outside world. That's what the inference would be of actually cutting Starlink over Taiwan and how it would help Xi Jinping.
Yeah, I want to be careful here because our story was focused obviously on the Musk
Yeah,
Putin
sure.
Kremlin relationship, but the inference is that China does not want to see Taiwan be able to increase its satellite communication capabilities, and they've obviously watched the great success that Ukraine has had with Starlink in the war against Russia. And quite frankly, we also point out in the story that Russia has now been able to sort of illicitly import Starlink terminals and kind of take advantage of that and sort of cut into Ukraine's advantage with Starlink. So I think the concern is not so much like China's about to invade Taiwan and they want to make sure that Taiwan can't communicate with the outside world. It's that they don't want Taiwan to have this sort of advantage in any future potential conflict.
Warren Strobel, a reporter at the Wall Street Journal who worked on this 4-month investigation. I know how hard it can be to bring these stories to publication. Thank you very much for joining me. And I don't know if congratulations is the right word, but well done on bringing this piece to Pixel. And you can read about it all on the Times app as well.